Hey yogis, welcome to your yin practice. So for this class, we're going to use a bunch of props, and ideally I'd love you to have your mat up against a wall. Using the wall in yin is so nice, and most of you have probably done that with me before and can contest to that. If you don't have any wall space near you, it's okay. I will give you options to do the postures or similar postures down on the ground. So don't get sort of caught up with it. But if you can clear a bit of space, move your mat up against the wall, please do so. You're also going to need a blanket or a towel and a bolster or a pillow cushion of some kind. So press pause, organize yourself, pick a playlist, and then when you're ready, we'll meet back here on the mat. Great. So take a comfortable seat, and I don't mind what that is. For me, you can see I'm straddling the bolster. Maybe you're sitting cross-legged with the pillow underneath you. It's absolutely up to you. It's just a seat that you can be comfortable in, that you can close your eyes and you can rest your hands either palms down or palms up, just to let the body and the mind settle into the practice, acclimatize to the space, to the mat, and essentially to my voice. You might like to take a couple of slow, long breaths here. Feeling the belly fill and the breath in. The slow but full emptying of the breath out. Scan the body. Notice any parts of tension. Any little niggles. Any concerns. Notice if the headspace is busy or you feel pretty settled, focused. Let's take another breath here in seat. You can blink open the eyes. If you do not have a wall to practice on, stay in your seat. Take your arms wide. Cross your right arm over the top of your left. Wrap the forearms, palms or back of hands together. Garudasana, eagle arms. Take a breath in. As you exhale, just begin to roll chin to chest, elbows towards belly. If you're on a cross leg, you might fold forward. You might rest your elbows on the ground or on a prop. If you're kneeling, as you can see here, I just hang my forearms down and use weight and gravity to draw me deeper. It can be quite strong. So you're going to stay there. If you do have the wall, come on up to standing and stand with your feet about a couple of feet away from the wall, hip width apart. Have your low back and your bum leaning against the wall so the wall can take your weight. And lift the arms and cross the right arm over the left. Same Garudasana, wrap arms. Take a breath in. Keeping the low back pressing against the wall, start to curl down. So chin to chest, elbows to chest. Hang the head heavily. If you're against the wall, at any point it feels appropriate, you might sink a little bit deeper away from the wall, but maintain the focal point of sensation around the shoulders. If you fold too far forward, it becomes a forward fold and it becomes more about the low back. I don't want it to be there. So I like to keep pressing my lumbar spine against the wall, my bum against the wall. And just relax the arms, the shoulders, the head. Whatever variation you're in of this shape, just breathe deeply. You may notice a deeper broadening across the back body as you hold this. Some of the tissues releasing. If there's anything you're gripping onto, let it go. Learning how to purposely release tension in our body is really useful teaching from your mat. Some could say you could take that off the mat and learn how to get through let go of other parts of discomfort in life. But it starts with the noticing of it. If you don't know what's happening, how can you change it? So quietening down and listening deeply is the key. Let's take 3 more breaths here. You may start to blink open the eyes. If you're very folded, keep the arms wrapped, but raise on up. So if you're against the wall, back of head comes to the wall, and if you're seated, you're just sitting tall. Take a big breath in here. As you exhale, let's unravel the arms, drop them down by the sides. Pause for a moment, neutral. Take a big roll of the shoulders up and back. I'm just going to come straight into the other side, so arms wide, left over right, back of hands or palms together. And if that's too much, you can even just wrap the arms around the back and hold onto the shoulder blades. It's fine too. Take a breath in. As you exhale, curling in on yourself. It's like a spiral, so chin to chest, then elbows drop down. Maybe the sort of top part of the spine comes away from the wall, keeping that lumbar spine pressing into the wall. If you're seated, you'll fold to whatever feels appropriate, and maybe the elbows rest on props, or perhaps they just hang in space using weight and gravity. Don't overthink it. Of course, the area of the body that we're hoping to create sensation here is the back body, between the shoulders, a little around the outer edges of the shoulders and the top outer sides of the arms as well. The trick is to breathe deeply, slowly, fully. This will help not only your focus and your presence, but it'll also give your tissues this idea of being really safe, well looked after, and that'll encourage them to release and let go of any tension that they may be holding. It's taking a little bit longer here. Perhaps you can feel the belly move to accommodate the breath. Just a few more. Last big breath in. Long, slow breath out. And keeping your arms raveled, begin to raise on up. And carefully let the arms uncross. They can hang down by your sides. If you're against the wall, just press up away from the wall so you're standing freely with no contact. If you're seated, just stay seated but tall through the crown of the head. And notice what is happening around the torso, the shoulders, the upper arms, maybe even the neck. Take a big roll of the shoulders up and back. So if you're against the wall, turn yourself to face the wall and take a halfway lift. Take your arms out in front of you and lean those flat palms into the wall, shoulder width. So your hands are going to be a little bit higher than your shoulders, a little bit higher. Keep your feet hip width apart, and then you can just sink your chest down. Let your weight lean into the wall here so the chest can sink lower than the armpits. Keep your head held up, don't let it be too heavy here. Neck is neutral. A little hug of the belly in. Any pinching in your shoulders, you can separate your hands a bit further apart from each other. That's quite helpful. If you're staying there, just close down the eyes and breathe. And those of you who were seated and you don't have a wall, come up and over onto your all fours and come into Anahata, walking the hands forward, again as wide as the mat. Dropping chin, chest or forehead down to the ground, and you can always pop your pillow underneath your forehead or underneath your armpits for some support here. Whatever you're choosing, we're working through the sides of the body, through the underarms, through the length of the arms. This can get pretty strong pretty quickly. So just maintain connection to your breath. It's the most important thing. And 5 or so more breaths there, but really long. Don't cheat the body of the full breath. Take a last breath here, big breath in. Maybe you like to part the lips and sigh the breath out. If you're against the wall, just walk the hands back up, release them from the wall, and just stand with the arms by your side, facing the wall, eyes closed in mountain pose and noticing everything. If you're in Anahata on the mat, walk the hands back in towards you, to your all fours. And then come on down and take a seat. If you have the wall, please stay standing. If you're on your mat in your seat, take a big breath in. Legs long out in front of you, pillow across your lap. As you exhale, fold forward into what we call caterpillar, opening the back of the legs and the length of spine and low back. Nice place to stay. Close down your eyes and breathe. Those of you standing facing the wall, I'm coming into my absolute favorite shape, and you have 2 options. Turn your back to the wall, have your feet a little away from the wall, foot length away, and drop your buttocks against the wall, and then fold forward and just hang and dangle down. You want your heels a little bit away from the wall so you can lean your bum back into it. I prefer my arms just dangling, but some people definitely like to hold on to the elbows here. It's your choice. And if you've got
open hamstrings and a good amount of length in the back of your legs, you can stay in this forward fold, but just turn yourself so your toes are pointing towards the wall, to the skirting. You need to tuck your chin to your chest as you walk into the wall and then lean the spine into the wall. So you're still in this standing forward fold, but the length of the spine, or as much of it as possible, is against the wall, and you're leaning your weight into it to encourage a deeper fold. It is really strong, this, but it's also really nice. And you don't have to stay here for too long. You can always switch around and have heels to skirting instead if you tried and it's all a bit too much. Whatever you've chosen to do, close down your eyes and just hang. Hang forward in your seat if that's where you are, or hang forward on your feet, using this sturdiness of the wall to hold you. Noticing the textures of the mat, of the wall, of the props, maybe even of your clothing. You're probably feeling this on the back of the legs, particularly if you're against the wall. Low back, maybe into the hips. And if you're seated, it's going to be more around the hips and the low back, I should think. But of course, different for everyone. Take a little bit longer here. We're folded forward. We're never going to be in these shapes for too long. Stay with me. Stay with your breath. Take another big breath in. Part the lips, let it go. If you're seated on your mat, just stay where you are for a moment. If you're against the wall, turn yourself so your heels are to the skirting and your bum is against the wall. Keep in your fold and heel toe your feet as wide as the mat. Turn your toes out ever so slightly. Start to bend your knees and sink your hips, coming to a squat, but you will be pressing your back against the wall. Reach for your pillow and just slip it underneath your bum so you've got a little bit of support here. Elbows towards inner thighs, palms to prayer, then interlace the fingers, press the wrist down and drop the forehead towards the knuckles. You can just stay there. You can sit quite upright and lean more into the wall if that feels better for you. You can come forward from the wall. Those of you who were in your seat in your caterpillar, rise on up. And you too are going to come into a squat. So take a bend into your knees, feet as wide as the mat. And then lift on up into your malasana. Grab your pillow or your bolster and again just slip it underneath the sit bones. You don't have the wall behind you. And again, elbows to inner knees, fingers interlaced, wrists pressed down as the forehead drops down to the hands. And again, just like those against the wall, you might prefer to be more upright here. Personally, I love the wall in this shape. You can sort of lean into it. It feels like you can get deeper into the inner thighs. Let's take a few moments. Notice how the body
physically has responded to being asked to be in this shape. It's not everyone's favorite. Just about 5 more breaths here. Final big breath in. Part the lips, let it go. Rock your weight into your toes, whether you have the wall or not. Let the hands come down to the ground, straighten up the legs, keep them wide as the mat. And just angle, folding forward. Maybe you're against the wall, maybe you're not. Grab your pillow and slide it lengthways to the top of your mat. And then if you're against the wall, walk your hands forward into down dog, and otherwise walk your feet back into down dog. Take a moment in down dog. Then draw your right knee towards your right wrist for pigeon pose. In yin, we call it sleeping swan. Left leg is long out behind you. Grab the bolster and just tuck it into the belly. And rest forward, forearms, belly, chest to bolster. Allow your pelvis to grow really heavy here as you just melt down into the shape. If there's any discomfort in your right knee, you're welcome to drop over to that right hip, keeping the right leg more or less in the same shape. I'm just pulling that left knee in a bit so the legs are at that 90-90 angle. And then just staying folding forward onto the bolster. You can walk the angle of the torso around to the left a little bit. If you do that, you'll still feel something through the right hip and the right glutes. It won't quite be as much as our sleeping swan, but it's a good enough alternative. And the exact positioning of bolsters is uniquely personal. When you've been practicing for a while, you know what you like. Don't be afraid to try new things, but yin should be a pleasurable experience. So if you just re-choose your favorite all the time, that's okay too. And it's not a very long hold. You're here for about 1 more minute. Let's try and stay with it. Lean into your breath. Lean into the sensations that you're noticing. And don't try and decipher and understand. Just accept and be aware of. I love with pigeon pose, sometimes the muscles can have this, it's like a little epiphany where they just go, and melt, and then your hips just sink right down, and suddenly the posture becomes a bit stronger but super comfy. If you've experienced that before, you'll know what I mean. And you just look for it every time you're in the shape. It's not always available. take another 2 or 3 breaths. Good. Keep your eyes closed. We're coming back into down dog. You can lift the chest from the bolster or the pillow, hands to the mat. And just carefully step that right foot back into down dog. You can take a little pedal out of the legs or just be still. Let the body sort of neutralize in stillness. Let's take the left leg forward and come into our sleeping swan left side. You might need to drop out to the hip and take those 90-90 legs again if the knee is aggravating. Set your bolster up how feels good and just settle on in. If you find you're distracted, counting the breath is helpful. It's like an anchor to the mat. Let's take a little bit longer here. Deep in the body. Leaving no part unexplored, unnoticed. Listening to the feedback. And then responding appropriately, going deeper or pulling back. Take a big breath in. Part the lips, sigh it out. Eyes can stay closed or soft gaze as you lift the chest. Drop to your left hip and bring that right leg around. You can roll your props off to the side. Those of you without the wall, I want you to come on down to the back of your body and then just slip the pillow underneath your sacrum, your low back. Send your legs straight up to the ceiling for supported Viparita Karani. Those of you who are near a wall, and even if you just want to move to a wall for this shape, it's great. And come and sit close to the wall. Take one hip right up to your skirting and then drop yourself down so the legs are up the wall and you're laying on the mat. And try and have the wall as close to the back of your legs and your buttocks as you can, so scooch right on in. Take your hands, well, they're really your choice. I like to my belly or up overhead behind me, but it's up to you. So wall or no wall, Viparita Karani is really nice for your circulation. If you've not got the wall, you probably won't want to be in this posture for quite as long, and you might still like the legs up with the bolster or pillow underneath the low back, but just a little bend in the knees, that can be good. Those with the wall, we're going to be staying here for quite some time. Maybe some different variations. Let's take 3 more breaths in this early version of the shape. If you're against the wall, take the soles of your feet together and your knees wide. Take your hands and place them on the inner knees and press them away. If you're not against the wall, start to bend the knees, take them to your armpits, arms inside knees, hands hold the outside of your feet for happy baby. Pillow remains underneath the sacrum to elevate. If you have the wall, keep your left leg as it is and send your right leg out towards the side. Keep the hand pressing into the thigh. And let the right leg be heavy and you'll feel this through the inner thigh. Keep the eyes closed as you stay. Those without the wall, if you're in your happy baby, we're going to modify this and keep your left leg in happy baby and just start to stretch your right leg out to the side. Some of you will be able to do that holding on to the outer edge of the foot. I'm in it now if you need to peek. Others might just grab the outer side of the leg or just take that hand to the inner thigh and press it away. You won't be here super long. Take about 3 more breaths. The last one. And then just changing sides. So the leg that's out to the side, bring it in, and the other one send out. So half happy baby, half leg to the side or against the wall. Reclose the eyes. I like to practice yin behind closed eyes. I find that it means you can feel more. You can focus more and really detach from everything off the mat. It's not that that's not important, it is, it's your life, but right now it's not important. Let's take a couple more breaths here. Last breath. If you're away from the wall, come back into happy baby. If you're against the wall, come back in, soles of feet together, knees wide. Outer edges of the feet pressing into the wall, hands to the inner knees, guiding them away. Take a big breath in wherever you are. Exhale completely. Let it go. Those against the walls, slide your legs back up the wall. Make your arms comfortable down by your side or heart to belly, hand to heart. And you'll be finishing your practice here in just a moment. Those in happy baby, bring the knees together, hug into your chest, little rocks side to side. Push that pillow or bolster further down the mat so you can catch it behind your knees. And then lengthen your legs long down the mat into Shavasana. Take any final adjustments you need to make in either posture that you're taking. And then come to stillness. Let's take a moment with the breath. Wherever you are in your breath, exhale completely to empty. Take a slow but deep inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold your breath. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slow exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more round. Inhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Big breath in. Part the lips, let it go. Close the mouth. Shavasana. And I'm going to leave you here, legs up the wall or Shavasana on the mat, and settle in for a couple of minutes at the least. If you're doing this in the evening or just before bed, legs up the wall for quite a long time, 5 or so minutes, should help you settle into sleep restfully. Give it a go. And as always, thank you for sharing your home and your practice with me. It's my pleasure. Namaste.